Hi friends, it's your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about the death of the superhero cinematic universes. So I'm calling it the reign of the superhero movie at the box office is over, 100%. 2025 has been absolutely catastrophic for superhero films. Let's count them off. So the first one was Captain America: Brave New World. So that was an abysmal failure, and made less than $500 million. It was really, really bad. Thunderbolts then came and underperformed that, right? And that's the new Avengers, right? Did absolutely horribly, not even $500 million, right? Then everybody was waiting for the 2025 James Gunn Superman movie that arrived. In its second week, it had done 400 million. It's Grace Randolph said it's virtually impossible. It's like a 90% lock. It will not make even $1 billion, right? It's going to plop out about 800 million, and that's it. That's all it's going to do, right? And it'll be lucky to hit 800 million at this point. So massive underperformance, and we're finished, and it's finished. Now, real quick, I want to talk about why. There's two reasons why. James Gunn came in, and he had the opportunity to build the DCU from the ground up and to make it good. And he threw that opportunity away. He had the opportunity to just say, "Hey, listen, everybody. I know y'all love Robert Pattinson as Batman, and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, but it's turned into nothing. We're going to start from scratch. We're just going to build from the ground up. We're going to start from the very beginning, year zero, right? Like we're going to do this right. We're going to clear. We're just going to start with a clean slate and build from the ground up." And James Gunn really could have done that. Like we've seen what he can do, with Guardians of the Galaxy. And if he had had the courage to start with a clean slate, I truly believe. One, he wouldn't have started with Superman. He would have started with his own Batman. He would have started with his own Justice League movie, and it probably would have made $3 billion, right? With all new stars and a completely new star, right? That would have been the way to go. What happened on the Marvel side? They are a victim of their own success. So the problem was Avengers Endgame. It's in the title. That's the end, but they didn't end it, right? They didn't do anything. They pretended that the end game didn't matter, right? And they should have started from scratch and started all new with the X-Men, right? And allowed and cleared the board and said, "Hey, I'm glad you guys had a good time with all those people. That entire world is done. We're starting from scratch, and we're going to give you the X-Men. We own them. You've never seen them on screen. Well, we'll give you what you need, and we can start completely because Avengers Endgame is done. That is the end, right? Like you saw it. There's the end." And so both companies, we're looking at the death of the superhero blockbuster. They don't bust anything anymore. They're bog standard disappointments left and right, constant, right? So that's gone. Well, what's that got to do with Dungeons and Dragons? Everything, right? So here's the kicker. The age of the superhero cinematic blockbuster is over, okay? That means we're looking for the new source of cinematic blockbusters. All right, now what are the contenders, right? There's a few. First of all, anime. That was considered, by the way, if you don't know, Keanu Reeves as Cowboy Bebop 20 years ago, that if they had gotten that together and done everything that was necessary, or if Jordan Peele if they had gotten everything together and done the work and done Jordan Peele Akira, both of those could have launched a cinematic boom for anime. At this point, it's done. They've tried again and again, and what we found is that they're never able to align the right talent, and at this point, they're going in their own direction, and anime is not viable as an American cinematic blockbuster option. It's not going to work, right? So the next one is horror, right? Horror has really been coming up. It's had tremendous success. However, it's got a cap, and generally, no horror movie ever makes more than it doesn't. They don't even make $250 million. They're almost always profitable, but they can't do billions. They can't even do billion fractions usually. So that's not really an option. But what is? Fantasy is a very real option. Why? Well, there's a demand for it. How do we know there's a demand? Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson made billions with the Tolkien film. He's the only one who's proved it's possible, and there have been many people who've tried and failed. Right now, Rings of Power is a very powerful statement that you can succeed with good fantasy if you keep your politics out, which is exactly what Rings of Power did not, and that has turned into an extremely expensive failure. Also, Wheel of Time recently became an extremely expensive failure. That's not good. That's very bad, right? But Dungeons & Dragons has lots of worlds, lots of characters, and is perfectly positioned to pick up the ball and run. And it even has Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves as a test run, right? And you're like, well, that didn't succeed. Well, I think Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves may be like Candela Obscura, right? Spencer Stark built Candela Obscura. It was absolute garbage. It was hot garbage. Nobody liked it. It was very, very bad, right? But then he came out with Daggerheart, and that thing was a banger, an absolute banger that has met nothing but major success, right? So Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, it wasn't hot garbage. It did over $200 million, right? It did pretty well. It was in the top 10 movies for 3 months. 3 months, right? Like it really did extremely well. It was critically acclaimed. Fans who saw it loved it. Non-fans who saw it loved it. It's a good test run, but D&D is perfectly positioned to pick up the ball and become the next source of cinematic success, blockbusters. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing and have a fetch millennium.